Next speaker is Professor Keon Wook Kang. He is highly esteemed professor of nuclear medicine at Seoul National University, and he has been recognized for his profound expertise in molecular imaging. He has more than 250 publications, so I request Professor Kang to please proceed with his talk.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and it's my honor to be invited speaker. As today, I'd like to talk about our own experience in Theanostic, how to establish in Korea. And these are my conflict of interest. I just founded up in the two startup companies. And Theanostic is the first. Theanostic is a very traditional one, and item 131 is we started in 1960s, and so rapidly growing. And one of the causes is that you already talks about in the morning, and that the ultrasonography is increasing, very popular for the cancer screening in Korea since 2000 and 2010. And so the epidemiology shows a very skyrocketing of the incidence. Actually, it is not an incidence, it is a finding, a new finding, already existing and thyroid cancer, very early thyroid cancer, very small one, less than 1 centimeters. And all the peoples are, and still at the time is worried about this cancer, and so get surgery. And so finally the radioiodine therapy also increase as much as the new thyroid cancer incidence is coming out, and so you can see in the skyrocketing, increasing number here. And but finally, the publish the general EJNM, the New England NEJM, New England Journal of Nuclear Medicines, our epidemiologist in Korea is published that it is not related with the real new incidence. And so we have a campaign, National Cancer Center Korea has a campaign about the dawn screening for the thyroid cancer if you don't have a symptom. And that's why you're now decreasing again. And this shows it. New cancer is decreasing. Yeah. And we had a history about the radiation diagnostics, and for almost 2 decades ago, and Professor Jae-min Jung, who is a radiopharmacist in my department, has developed this at the time. Uranium-188 and the HEDP is very similar in the compound, the bisphosphonate, and so technetium MDP only, and they exchanged the technetium into the theranostic radioisotope radium-188. Radium-188 was available at the time from the United States, and Dr. Rosneft in the NIDC, and which is located in Oak Ridge National Labs, and provide this radium generators and for the research, a very low price. And so IAEA finally sponsored, initiated trial among the Asian countries. And so Professor Jae-min Jung is radio-labeling and distributing it to other countries. And so this is one of the examples that in my hospital, and so I was a fellow at the time. And so if you're looking at the bone scans, we injected in the radium HDP at the same patients, it shows almost the same. And so we can treat the patients with bone metastasis who is prostate cancers. But the problem is that, and the radium-188 is only for the research, and so it is not approved. And so after finishing the investigation trial, the research, we cannot use it anymore. And also, Professor Jae-min Jung is developed in the same radium generator, and so using that and conjugated with the ripiodol. And so we generally using the transarterial radio chemoembolization using ripiodol, and but he made this as a radium generator version, transarterial radioembolization at the time. And so IAEA also sponsored this initiated trial. And so this is one of the pictures that, and from the Dr. Sundram Singapore in the clinical trial in the hepatocellular carcinomas, and the well shown over here. But also, unfortunately, radium generator to not supply anymore, it stopped. And so now Transarterial radioembolization is commercialized in the U.S. and Australia, and the Sosphere and the Therasphere is come to the market. So it is very unfortunate. This is a low price as uranium Ripado didn't survive in the market, even if it is a low price. And also, lutetium doratate is also, and we in Korea is we have Hanaro, and the research reactor is a Daejeon province, and so the scientist is already producing it, and which is not a big scale, but small scale, research-based scale, and we got a funding from the Ministry of Science and Technology, developed the lutetium doratate, and it is funded for 5 years since 2010 and 2015 because the lutetium doratate and don't have a patent, and so anyone who make this and can be in the market authorization. But the problem in Korea at the time, even if we producing it, this one, preclinical study is so expensive, and at the time there's a very strict regulation for pharmacy, not for the radiation. Radiation is not so strict, but the Korean FDA has a very strong regulation, and so we have to do the preclinical study in 2 different species. One is mice, the other is dog. And using the preclinical study GLP test for dog is very expensive, and so it cannot support it by the government, and so we have to stop. But fortunately, I have met Peter Reitner, who is a salesman of the lutetiums at the time. He is working at the IVA in the Belgium, but he has another business at the Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur, has distributed and sales office there, and so he contacted me that she can deliver to lutetium to the Korea. And it was 2017, but the problem is that in Korea we cannot use an approved drug. We follow the regulation of the United States or Japan, and not like Germany. But Malaysia itself has to do a homebrew lutetium doratate, lutetium PSMA treatment at the time, and so he supplied to some private hospital, such as Sunway Hospital, Beacon Hospital, Fantai Hospital, which is located in Kuala Lumpur, and the capital city of Malaysia. And so, before that, I have to send some patient to Germany to get the treatment. But Malaysia is much nearer from the Seoul, and it takes just around 6 hours flight. And so, I send many patients to get the treatment of the lutetium doratate to Malaysia, and almost more than 100 people. And so finally, the patient has argued about that. Why do we receive this kind of new technology in Malaysia, as Korea is some more advanced country? And so, this is a newspaper, and my patient has take pictures by himself, and so making some news media, and release into the news media. And so finally, we make some neuroendocrine patient advocate in Korea, and we invited to all the patients. This is an annual meeting of the Korean Society of Nuclear Medicine. We have patient sessions, and all the patients, and also Dr. Lingeswaran, who treat my patients. Oh, I'm sorry. Dr. Ringeswaran visited Korea, who treat my 100 patients and discuss about that. This is a kind of the movement and the patient movement. And so they have a demonstration in front of the KFDA that this drug should be in the faster approval in Korea. And so finally they contact Novartis and the AAA in Europe, and they come to us, and so finally they submitted their own trial database and finally approved it. And so now we got the Rutacera since 2020 as approved in Korean FDA, and so this is delivered to my hospital, and so we are measuring how much amount is coming out. But main problem is that in Korea is after Ukraine war, and there's a lot of detouring, so it takes more time to and the flight over and to Korea, and so we get the dose ordering 200 millicurie, but actually we got a 5 or 7% less than that one finally, and we injected 184, 85, something like that. That's the problem we have. These are and how we can and deliver in the drugs as well as a research care and amino acid for the renal protections. And these are in the patients. And we do not have to have hospitalized. And each country has a different radiation safety regulation. We have to admit it over 30 millicuries of the iodine, but lutetium-177, 200 millicuries, we do not need to hospitalization. We only need to hospitalization for 4 hours because of the injection of the amino acid. And so these are in the purity and for neuroendocrine tumors in Korea, and the Lutathera is approved for grade 1 to 3, and the national insurance cover and grade 1 and 2. This the only country is reimbursed in Asia, and so Lutathera is so expensive, over $20,000 per injections, but is covered by the reimbursement, and so the patient only pay $1,000. Yeah, 5% of it. Yeah. Because of the patient advocate is always argued about the Ministry of Health Welfare, they finally and decide to reimburse. And so we can use off-label use of Lutathera as well. And also we are doing the several clinical trial, and recently Actinium-225 is an Action 1 is phase 3 clinical trial by RaiseBio is ongoing in Korea. And these are the preliminary result of the Lutathera treatment at Seoul National University in my hospital until in June this year, and we treat 100 patients. And many of the patients' origin is pancreas, and followed by the rectum. And if we evaluate the 62 patients, and the overall response is almost the same as a NETO-1 clinical trial. And just around the 20% is partial response, and 60% and the stable disease. Only 20% is progressive disease. And this is the best scenarios of my patients. And she got. I'm sorry. Oh. Can I move on? Okay. Now this is the best scenarios, and she has a pancreatic origin and the multiple and the liver metastasis. And after 4 cycles of the Lutathera treatment, the liver metastasis is gone. Only the pancreas is somewhat decreased, but still remain. And so she wanted to get surgery. And so finally, the pancreatectomy was done. And after that, until last month, and I also checked the gallium dotatate PET, she is free of disease right now. And the primary is the surgery is removed, and the liver metastasis get treated by them and Lutathera. And also we treated other other than the neuroendocrine tumors, other origin of the gastric pancreatic. And so this is the Simon's cases, and he has a very high uptake over here, and so he also got the 3 times of the lutetium dotatate time, and so he has a shrink of the Simon's mass. He has a very severe pain at the time, but the pain was gone. And also we developed our own and the PSMA and derivatives. And so Korean has 2 companies, Selvion, the other company is FutureCam, has their own lutetium PSMA and Professor Jaemin Jung in my department is developing his own and PSMA, and so it is licensing out the Korean company, and now we are doing the phase 1 and 2 clinical trial, and this is one of the patients, and he has severe and the heavily and the bone metastasis and baseline and the PSA and the 800. And after 4 cycle of the lutetium, actually we call it DGUL. It means the glycine urea ricin is a targeting peptide, and so we name it DGUL PSMA. And finally, almost gone, and the PSA decreased and less than 1. And also, we have, and if we can, we are doing the clinical trial, we can use as a compassionate use other disease. And so this is a case of the adenocystic carcinoma. Adenocystic carcinoma is also known as that the PSMA is highly increased, expressed. And so these patients and heavily and multiple metastasis lung, it is origin from the salivary gland, but there's a bone metastasis as well. And he also got the PSMA treatment, and is also very well uptake. Unfortunately, he got the pneumonia and expired after that. We also doing the clinical trial, and so these are companies I already said, Kang, the Sylvian, the Korean domestic company. We are doing the multiple and global companies also doing the phase 3 clinical trial, and recently early phase 1-2 clinical trial, the lutetium NeoV is a GRPR agonist for breast cancers. Also, we do the active dotatate for the investigator trial from Kirams. And so, one of the most important thing is and the government is supporting of the producing of the radioisotopes, and in Korea, we are designing and building a new facility for nuclear reactor. Now we have only one research reactor, but this is a new reactor for dedicated productions of the radioisotope, and it will be finished in 2027, and we can make some lutetiums or as well as moly generators. And so we also already established the Korean Radioisotope Center for Pharmaceutical, and so they do have the GLP in pre-clinical test, and the GMP facility for clinical trial as well. And also we have in the many industries, startup companies for nuclear medicine right now, and some of them is from my university, BIK Therapeutics, and Brightonics Imaging, and the Portray is all 3 is from my department. And also, I'm the startup company by myself, and I'm not the CEO, and I'm a founder, because the neutron generator is needed for, and actually the actinium is produced by the neutron flux and the high flux nuclear reactors, but this is nowadays very shortage of the globally, and so now we are designing a small neutron generator the size of the refrigerator, which can be installed in each hospital, and so we don't need much and the high amount in the actinium, because the lutetium we injected 200 millicurie, but actinium we injected 0.5 millicuries, and so this is one of the design and that producing the small amount in actinium. Thank you very much for listening.